But the fact that Ryan, has gone through 3 top trainers that would have done a great job, Eddie Reynoso, Joe Goosen, and Derrick James.
Correct.
And he's not training with neither of them. He's training with his dad.
Did Ryan Garcia ever allow those trainers to be the boss?
That's why he's back with his dad, because he's the boss. That's why.
Yeah.
Look, Joe Goosen, I know Joe Goosen. My brother used to train with him. He's not going to just let you get away with stuff like that. Derrick James shouldn't either. Eddie Reynoso doesn't need. He's made so much money with Canelo that if you want to come to me, it's going to be under my rules. And if that didn't work, then Ryan's back. So that's I give that big advantage to Barrios to even pull that off.
See, that's the thing about boxing, and Big Baby Miller pointed it out, because there's no structure. We need some kind of structure. In the NFL, the guy has to sit there for the media interview. He shows up on time. He's got to do it. And to give you an NFL analogy, think about the Broncos, right? When they had Russell Wilson over there and he had his own office and everything. And it was nothing. It was dysfunctional. Then they hired Sean Payton.
Cut it out.
As a coach, that's like going to train with Goosen or going to train with a world-class trainer, right? And you knew as soon as Sean Payton got there, ain't no one's going to have their own office. And you turn around a couple years later, and they're great. They're in the playoffs, right? That's the thing in boxing, when fighters want it comfortable, right? Sometimes when Miguel Cotto would want to train in certain places because it was more comfortable for him, I thought, I want to see the Miguel Cotto when it's uncomfortable, right? And Cotto's a great fighter, of course, and a serious person. But the fighter really has a little too much control when they reach a certain level sometimes of their own career, which is good in one way, but in another way can limit them athletically. Because boxing is not a comfort business.
Max Kellerman isn't mincing words. He breaks down this fight with a clear message. Ryan Garcia's raw talent alone will not be enough to beat Mario Barrios. Without discipline, structure, and a consistent training camp behind him, Ryan is walking into dangerous territory. As Kellerman puts it simply and bluntly, boxing is not a comfort business.
Boxing is not a comfort business.
But do you think it's more of his opponent, where maybe I could get away with training with my dad, compared to if I'm fighting a top dude?
It'd be a big mistake to underestimate him.
Right, and it's like everyone thought he was going to win that fight, and Rolly just outboxed him. Rolly outboxed him and looked good doing it. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's crazy. I wish that Ryan, because he's so talented, I wish he would stick to a coach and really just follow the instructions.
Ryan will win this fight.
Both Max and Robert Garcia have nothing but respect for Ryan's natural gifts inside the ring, but they share the same concern. Trainer instability is quietly becoming Ryan's biggest enemy. While Ryan changes camps, Barrios stays the course, stays dedicated, and keeps building. The contrast couldn't be more clear. And as fight night approaches, both fighters have begun sending each other a message.
Same thing as everybody says, left hand, make sure that's up, you gotta protect it, blah, blah, blah. That's what I would imagine he's saying. And gotta take that away. It's probably, little things like that. They drill a lot of just keeping the hands up all day long. So it's like here, 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 here. But, this freestyle type of boxing, with technique is gonna overwhelm this man.
It was a great experience. He's definitely one of a kind. I took a lot from that fight, just being in there with somebody with his timing, his skill, his speed. Yeah, just we're gonna use that, to in every way, to grow as a fighter.
Your opponent on the 21st, Garcia, hadn't actually won a fight officially since 2023. He's been through a lot of controversies, the scandal with Haney, and then the loss against Rolly Romero. What do you make of all that?
I don't make much of all the. I have somebody who's trying to take my title, and I'm looking just to go out there and defend.
So you're looking to put on a big performance, stylistically, what you're going to come with?
Mario Barrios isn't coming to survive this fight. He's coming to dominate it. He has studied every angle of Ryan Garcia's style, identified every crack in the armor, and he is locked in with one mission: walk out of that ring still champion. This belt isn't going anywhere, and Barrios wants Ryan to know it before they ever set foot in the ring. Despite the chaos surrounding his training camp, Ryan Garcia refuses to blink. His trainer may be gone, but as far as Ryan is concerned, his focus has never been sharper. He's blocked out the noise, tuned out the doubters and locked it entirely on one man, Mario Barrios.
I think it's better for you that he's working with a trainer you're familiar with than.
Oh yeah, in my eyes, you know. But hey, because I know I've already said some stuff that guy's already told him. But again, like he said, boxing is one-on-one. At the end of the day, he's a free thinker. I'm a free thinker.
Ryan said, Joe's not going to stop this fight. It's going to be a physical fight, a bloody fight. You're smiling when you're hearing that. Is that the kind of fight you want?
Not necessarily that it's the fight I want, but it's never a fight that I shy away from. I've gone out of my shield before. Like I said, you know, every time I step in there, you know, I give it, you know, whatever I have that day. And if that's the way like this fight goes, if it ends in a bloody battle, then, you know, it does, you know, and I've never shied away from that.
I respect that. I honestly do. I do see that in him. He definitely gives everything he got in that ring. And it's dope.
Inside the gym in Los Angeles, Ryan Garcia means business. The combinations are sharp. The drills are intense, and the energy in camp tells a story of a fighter fully switched on. Whatever questions surround his personal life, inside these walls, Ryan looks every bit like a man preparing for the biggest night of his career.
Lock up top 3. Lock up top 3. Lock up top 3, 2. Yeah.
Ryan Garcia unloads on a heavy bag with the kind of power that has stopped fighters cold throughout his career. Every shot is a reminder. When this man is dialed in, he is one of the most dangerous punchers in the sport. Mario Barrios has one message heading into this fight. That belt is his, and he has no intention of letting Ryan Garcia anywhere near it. He has worked too hard, sacrificed too much, and come too far to hand over his championship to anyone. On fight night, Barrios promises to be an immovable wall.
And I'm looking just to go out there and defend.
So you put on a big performance, stylistically, what you're going to come with?
Stylistically, you know, Garcia, he's explosive, he's dangerous, and but I think on a boxing level, there's no like competing with us. I think I'm the better fighter.
You just said you're the better fighter. Who do you put more on the line here, your title or his credibility?
I feel looking to defend.
Wade Clemens takes a deeper look at the strategic side of Ryan Garcia, a side that doesn't always get enough credit. He points out that Ryan has been doing his homework, studying the fights of Keith Thurman and Abel Ramos, two men who gave Mario Barrios genuinely difficult nights. The question Wade is asking is a fascinating one. Can Ryan's freestyle approach to boxing absorb those lessons and weaponize them against one of the best finishers in the sport today?
Obviously, both tough nights for Mario Barrios, but I'm interested to see what Ryan takes away from those fights. What can Ryan and his style, that kind of freestyle boxing he says he does, what can he implement from either of those guys to beat Barrios?
One of the best finishers in boxing. Like, I know you didn't finish Devin Haney, but you had him drown.
I saved him. I should have knocked him. I just didn't have the conditioning.
I think it still bothers you, huh?
Yes, because I should have knocked him out in that 11th, man. I was playing around too much. Yeah. And I was like, ha ha, like, bro, but next time, oh, that next time, buddy,
there we go again.
You won't have a next time. I'm finishing you. You will never box again if we fight again, and you know that. And I have vowed to that. If we fight again, you will never box again. I promise you that.
Gee, this is what I'm saying, bro. We need this fight. I've said it so many times. We need
when
this
the conversation turns to Devin Haney, something shifts in Ryan Garcia. The regret is real. He had Haney hurt, had the finish within reach, and he let it slip away, undone by conditioning and by his own admission, a lack of urgency in the 11th round. He was playing around when he should have been pulling the trigger. But Ryan isn't dwelling on what was. He's making a vow about what will be. If those two ever share a ring again, Ryan promises it will be a very different ending. The stakes are massive. The anticipation is building, and with just 9 days ago, this fight is almost here.
When someone's against him, when people think he'll lose, when it's a different challenge to him, even though the Rolly fight was a huge challenge. It was a world title shot, right? But you think back through Ryan's career and the fights where he performs better. Oscar Duarte fight, he thought Oscar De La Hoya and all of Golden Boy was against him. Obviously, the Devin Haney fight, no one thought he'd win. The Luke Campbell fight, Luke was an Olympian, so that was a big deal as well. The Gervonta Davis fight, he just lost. I mean, yes, the weight cut, whatever, but Ryan lost. But the mentality of Ryan, that's the thing that's so all over the place from time to time that you just don't know what Ryan you're going to get. I don't know what Ryan we're going to get in the Mario Barrios fight. He's saying all the right stuff. He's trained hard, right? He's acting like this is the one, but mentally is it, right? Because he kind of said the right stuff. He was a little quieter last time with the Rolly fight, but he said the right stuff, and it's hard to know, dude. It is, because another thing you worry about, I keep looking at this picture of Ryan, and I'm seeing a guy
Mario Barrios sits down and speaks about Ryan Garcia with genuine respect. He acknowledges the speed, the power, the confidence, all of it. But he also can't ignore the roller coaster Ryan has been on. A flat, lifeless performance against Rolly Romero, followed by a stunning, career-defining victory over Devin Haney. Then came the drug test controversy. The kind of cloud that can weigh on a fighter's mind in ways that don't always show up on the outside. Through all of it, Barrios is measured and respectful, and says at the end of the day, he genuinely wishes Ryan well.
When you look at Ryan as an opponent, obviously I'll put respect on the speed, the power, the confidence, and all that, but it's been a weird stretch for him in the ring, to be fair. The lifeless loss to Rolly Romero, the spectacular victory over Devin Haney, but obviously the drug test, everything that went on around that mentally, and certainly at the end of the day, we wish Ryan well. How do you sort of gauge where he's at as a fighter entering this fight?
It's hard to say, really, where exactly he's at, but I just had to prepare as if I have a focused Ryan in front of me, as they're saying, and yeah, just everything else kind of just is just background noise. Wait to look at Ryan's, at his best performances, when he has looked extraordinary.
When pressed on where Ryan Garcia truly stands heading into this fight, Barrios gives an honest answer. It's hard to know. And so he has made a simple but powerful decision. He is preparing as if the very best version of Ryan Garcia is going to walk through that door on fight night. The controversies, the media circus, the outside noise, none of it enters the gym with him. For Barrios, it's all background noise. His preparation is clean, his mindset is professional, and his focus is locked entirely on the fight. Whatever version of Ryan shows up, Barrios will be ready.
One of a kind, he's a character to be around. But no, the move to go be with Joe was gonna happen, whether this fight with Ryan was made or not. I was definitely, just after the pocket fight looking at what steps I wanted to make, moving forward, to just, continue to just grow as a fighter, to just continue to just, work on, I guess, yeah, just to work on myself and, get back to some of the things that has, that got me this far in the first place. Earlier in my career, I was definitely, a lot more aggressive. I had a much higher punch output, and so even my team sat down and were like, why not? Why not change the scenery?
Tim Bradley pulls back the curtain on Ryan Garcia's game plan, and what he reveals is genuinely intriguing. Ryan isn't just relying on instinct. He's thinking, timing, and calculating. Bradley breaks down how Ryan looks to exploit the moments when Barrios shifts his level, using a sharp jab to set up something far more dangerous. That something is a punch Bradley calls a 45. Half hook, half uppercut, a shot made famous by Oscar de la Hoya himself. Ryan has studied it, sharpened it, and according to Bradley, it could be the most lethal weapon in his arsenal on fight night. Barrios needs to know it's coming.
Because Barrios is a counterpuncher and he likes to stay, again, close to mid-range to outside, mid-range to outside. So he's like, a step or two, I would say a step, right in mid-range when he's firing shots. And so sometimes he'll throw those single jabs at mid-range, and he can be countered with the right hand. But we all know that Ryan Garcia, hopefully his right hand is back, operating. If his right hand is operating, he should have a field day, taking advantage of that, mid-range jab coming from Barrios. And he does it a lot, man. He really does. A lot of stuff that he does, he has good form and technique on it, Barrios. But it's just subtle mistakes that he makes. Like just stand near the pocket after he gets done working so guys can attack him after he gets done.
But Tim Bradley doesn't stop there. He turns the spotlight on Mario Barrios and begins picking apart the vulnerabilities that have shown up across his career. Barrios swells quickly under fire. The eyes, the nose, the face. And Ryan Garcia's heavy hands could turn that into a major problem as the rounds wear on. Beyond that, Bradley identifies a subtle but consistent flaw in Barrios' movement. He tends to linger near the pocket after he's done working, leaving himself open to counters. As a mid-range counterpuncher, Barrios is disciplined and technically sound, but those small mistakes have a way of becoming big problems against the right opponent. And Ryan Garcia, Bradley believes, might be exactly that opponent.
He swells. He swells quickly, man. He gets damaged really, really, really easily. You touch him, he starts to bruise up immediately, starts to swell up immediately. So I think Ryan having those heavy hands, I think that can be an issue in the fight as well. Those eyes will start swelling, that nose will start swelling up. I've seen, eyes and nose swell up on Barrios, man, and he looked like, real bad, the Elephant Man, after fight. So I think that's something that we got to take into consideration as well. I think, again, let's go back to the trainer. I think it's going to favor Barrios, the fact that he knows that his trainer knows Garcia. It's going to favor him. He's going to know, the approach, on how to get to Ryan Garcia. He's seen him in sparring.
Chris Algieri cuts right to the heart of what makes Ryan Garcia different from almost everyone else in boxing right now. Star power. Not just talent, but genuine, undeniable magnetism. He draws eyes. He creates moments. He is must-watch television in a way that very few fighters ever are. Algieri contrasts him with George Kambosos, a fighter who earned everything through relentless hard work and heart, securing one of the most stunning upsets in recent memory against Teofimo Lopez. Two completely different paths to the spotlight. But while Kambosos sees his defining moment, Ryan is still searching for his. He has never held a world title. And the question Algieri is quietly asking is simple. Will Ryan Garcia ever cash in on everything he's been given?
And you mentioned it from the onset about being a star. Kambosos was never a star. Kambosos was never that popular, not the way that Ryan Garcia is. So Ryan's here because of that. And yes, he does have some physical gifts and a ton of physical talent, and physical gifts that make him, must-watch TV when he's on. But we haven't seen him on in a long time. And, he hasn't gotten to that position. It's hard to compare him with George because George was the opposite. George was just a hard worker. George always came in shape. But in terms of talent, he was lacking. He got that big win off of heart and grit. And man, did he cash out on that win, because he made so much money after those fights, got himself into so many opportunities that he never would have gotten if he had lost to Teofimo Lopez and became undisputed. Ryan is still yet to be world champion. These guys are almost like literally polar opposites of each other.
Robert Garcia leaves us with perhaps the most important truth of this entire conversation. Trainers can teach, guide, and prepare, but they cannot want it for a fighter. They cannot step inside the ropes for him. At a certain level of fame, Fighters like Ryan Garcia often become the boss of their own camp, the final word on everything, and the people around them simply fall in line. Robert is clear. No trainer in the world, no matter how gifted, can fix that dynamic if the fighter isn't willing to be coached. It comes down to Ryan himself, his choices, his discipline, his world. Everything else is just detail.